Welcome Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. Fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Fantasy football talk, hateful eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down, Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to LB Design Studio, we're getting loud. Season 2, headphones on, red light go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast with your host. I'm Pickle, and with me as always Blackburn.
What's up, guys?
And Trimboli.
Howdy.
Howdy indeed. This episode we will discuss the rest of the Week 14 games, aka Week 1 of your fantasy playoffs more than likely, and get your lineups ready. Hopefully be successful and get you to round 2 or Week 15, whichever it is for you, I guess.
It's the same thing.
So
It's all the same.
as always, don't forget to follow the show's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. Now onto the Week 14, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Weekly starts and sits. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right. The good, the bad, and the ugly presented by Stat Route. Dominate your league. Get the stats used by the pros. Any stat, any player, any team available in under 5 seconds. Head over to statroute.com. Use promo code HATEFULFF for 25% off your subscription. Who's got the early games? I don't remember. I have the evening games.
I got some 1 o'clock games.
There you go.
Oh,
That's
so,
probably
I think we got a mixture over here.
It's a mixture.
mixture.
Who wants to go first, you or me?
It doesn't matter.
Rock, paper, scissors.
We're really doing this
I
thing.
guess.
Yeah. Yes,
There you
I
go.
won.
Go ahead.
That's how we do things around here.
There you go.
And like that, I'm done. All right, the first game I got is the Saints at Tampa Bay.
Blowout.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. A lot
On
of
which,
points.
On which end, though? Because they did get destroyed in Week 1. The Saints did. I'm just
Okay,
saying.
well, it's been a long time since week 1.
It is.
You done talking?
No. I'm sorry.
All right.
The platform awaits you. Go
There
ahead.
we go. All right. My good in this is only because this question always comes up now. Who do you play? Is Ingram worth playing this week with Kamara? And I think they're both good plays. So my good is both running backs. I know Kamara's a must. Ingram's back and forth. I think this is the week you play, and the Bucs are absolutely god-awful against stopping the run, and they give up so many points. They'll both have enough volume and points.
Well, they could be up by a lot. They'll just run the ball with Ingram
True.
to salt it away.
True. And actually, for you Saints guys who were worried last week, they're all going to bounce back. Breeze, Thomas, they'll all be fine.
Yeah, I
Don't
know.
worry.
Let's say they've got a couple people that have put out like on Twitter and added us and be like, "Oh my gosh, the last 3 weeks, Thomas has been average, or Kamara's been average, Ingram's non-existent." And it's like, and Drew Brees had a bad Thursday night against the Cowboys. It's like, what happens? And yeah,
The Saints offense seems to go through this. Thomas did it last year. Breeze did it last year too. It just, you were hoping it's like more toward the middle, the front half of the season, and not, when the playoffs start. But this
Right.
is a heck of a matchup that.
Go get Kirkwood. No, I'm just kidding.
Kirkwood. There you go.
Isn't that the guy's name?
I don't know who Kirkwood is.
I'm blank
literally
now.
drawing
For
a
the
blank.
Saints? What's the guy's name? The wide receiver.
Traquan Smith?
No, Traquan Smith.
Traquan?
No,
And there is
there's
Kirkwood. Kirkwood is one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right. He's the one guy that caught.
He's got
rubbing
like
him
3 touchdowns over the last 2 games.
I think he threw me off there.
I thought he was making up a
Yeah, I
name.
did
was
too.
like, I don't want to answer too quickly because I
Yeah.
don't know if this is a real guy. So no, but I do.
Yeah, he's
I
like
know
that-
he is.
he's like that
Yeah,
wide
what
receiver.
joke you walking into? Exactly. That's
Right.
thinking the same thing.
So, anyways, yeah,
Right. On with the show. All right.
The what?
the show.
The show with a podcast, whatever this thing is we're doing here.
Jeez.
All right, my bad is Cameron Brate.
Yeah.
It's not a bad matchup against the Saints, but he's not been good the last couple weeks since Howard went down. He's only got 1 touchdown. Again, I see him struggling this week. So
He got you a whopping 4 last week.
yeah,
Say week 1 when the hype was at the highest point, he had a decent game for you.
Right.
I think he had like 11 or 12 points or something like that, which is fine for a guy that you picked up off of waivers more than likely.
true.
But last week was a disappointment.
Well, his relationship with Winston, we thought history would prove itself. He'd come back. He'd be the tight end. He'd be a tight end 1, but you just haven't seen it.
No.
So, and I'll tell you why I haven't seen it, because the guys I'm going to talk about with next, the ugly in this is there's 2 guys you can play. It's Humphreys or Chris Godwin.
Right.
Both have been balling out, but Humphreys is who I like the most out of all those. He's got 3 TDs in his last 3 games. He currently ranks wide receiver 15 during that span. I mean, the matchup against the Saints is great. So
Yeah, they've proven that they tend to try to shut down the number one, and that's about it. Because Eli Apple, As an Ohio State fan, I liked him when he played for Ohio State. However, since he's gotten to the pros, he's been about average to below average.
Hot garbage.
And they pick on him
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's
all day.
well, you're not going to go against Lattimore.
Yeah.
You're more
True.
like, who you going to go against? You're going to go, I mean, it's the same. No, I'm not putting Lattimore in the same conversation, but when Deion Sanders played on any of the defenses in his prime, do you think that they were like, okay, Deion's on the left side, so we're going to go ahead and throw it? It doesn't even matter who it is on the right side. We're throwing that way. So I agree with you. Sorry, Eli, but it's not a good, no. Nope.
No bueno.
And Humphreys will more than likely probably draw that slot spot anyways.
Right. He's like I said, he's your. I said this off the air. He's your possession guy, so he's going to get more of the receptions. So in a PPR, it's great. Godwin's going to take it off the top. So
I like Humphreys a lot.
I do
Yeah.
too. All right. Next game on the slate's the Giants at homeboys Washington Redskins.
Oh.
That be you. Don't turn your head.
Don't bail just yet.
Hey, look, my good right out of the gate. It's a Redskin.
Oh,
It's Adrian Peterson,
The only good.
the only offensive weapon for Washington.
pretty much.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, because you got Dirty Sanchez in there, you can't do anything else.
Yeah. Right. Dirty Sanchez. I like that.
Pretty much.
Right. He's,
Butt fumble or butt recovery fumble, whatever you want to call him.
I don't know.
It's
And
not a good situation.
Right. And really, the reason why I like them is the Giants rank near the bottom against the running back. They're letting up almost 30 points a week. That's a lot of fantasy points.
Yeah.
So I think AP is going to get a big share of that.
Well, I just think with that, all the wide receivers and tight ends are going to be non-existent in Washington now.
True.
Yep.
Can we all just give like a round of applause or like an attaboy to Adrian Peterson? 33 years old. Dude looked perfectly fine running that 90-yard touchdown. He might have been gassed at the end, but he was like flying. He looked like the Adrian Peterson in his 20s running.
2 stats for you. 1, that was the longest run of his career.
Yeah.
2, that's the longest run in Washington Redskins franchise history.
Well, that's a double.
And that's the
year.
longest run of a player that age.
That's also that's a three-peat right there.
That's a trio.
And he took the rest of the game off.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, he had a 90-yard run and didn't even reach 100.
He's
No.
like, I'm good.
He got 3 more yards after that.
Well, it's
He ended
because,
with 98.
it's because they stacked the box, and I don't know.
He's like, I'm good. I'm good.
He's like,
90
yeah.
yards and a touchdown. I'm good. I'm gonna cash
He's
in
with
for the day.
Sanchez eating that dang hot dog.
I guess.
Right. All right. So
my bad in this, and normally he's my good, but when I talk about the Giants, but it's Sterling Shepard.
yeah.
He's dealing with a rib injury, and over the last 3 weeks, his best performance is 4 receptions for 37 yards.
He only really catches those touchdowns when OBJ's throwing them.
Right. Well, anymore, if your name's not Barkley or OBJ, you're non-existent in that offense.
Yeah, what happened to Evan Ingram?
Gone.
He's there, I guess. I
No,
don't
he's
know.
there. He's on the field.
Yeah.
But he's not doing nothing.
Just cashing that paycheck. That's it.
Yeah. Hey,
Can't
fault-
hate on him for that.
Say can't fault the guy for that one.
And then my ugly, it's real ugly. But I think Sanchez is going to have to throw to someone, and it's Jordan Reed for me.
Yeah.
I think normally a quarterback's going to rely on his tight end. I don't see any other receiving option as a threat here, but Jordan Reed is a guy who could, just at a pure volume, be enough to be a viable low-end tight end, maybe a flex if you're desperate.
Well, Gruden admitted, obviously, they weren't counting on Sanchez coming in. He only knew 15 to 25 plays.
Yeah.
He'd only been there for 2 weeks. So hopefully they can, expand in the playbook a little bit for this week and get him better suited for the wide receivers and tight ends.
Man, I don't know which one guy I was listening to on the radio. He said that basically Sanchez has the equivalent of the 2-minute offense is what he knows. It's like 8 or 9 set plays.
Yep.
And there's just slight variations they can throw in. So after a while, the defenses will catch on to that. That's why he can come out hot normally, these guys can, and then struggle late.
Yeah, because they know.
Yep. It's just something I didn't know. I didn't realize, I always knew they only knew so much, but the fact that that's why right out of the gate, they can come out hot because you can catch a defense off guard, but then
Until they make the adjustments.
Right, because then you see now you're seeing the same play.
Same formation. Yep.
Yep.
You know it's coming.
Yep. All right, moving on to another barn burner here, the Jets at Buffalo. You guys excited for
man.
this one?
No.
No, me neither. I wasn't even excited to talk about it.
Well,
Just
tell us how you really feel.
The good news is the Bills' defense.
Yeah.
Jets' offense is only averaging 12 points over the last 6 games. That is terrible.
Yeah.
And Buffalo ranks 14th in takeaways with a total of 18 this year. And with Darnold scheduled to return,
Yeah.
that number's going to increase.
Yeah. 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 I got nothing good to say, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut about this game because I got nothing positive.
I love dangling Darnold out there.
Just
Any
do
way I
this.
can work him in because I know you guys love it. And no, it's not good. All right. The bad in this is Crowell. With Darnold as the quarterback, I just think his touches decline more and more. Buffalo is middle of the road against the running back, but Crowell, last time they played him, gained a whopping 37 total yards from scrimmage. That's receiving and rushing.
Somebody in our league likes Crowell because they dropped Dalvin Cook to pick him up.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? Wait. First,
It was one of those.
Let's
It
look
was
in-
one of those
look-
waiver wire late night bad decisions that you just happen to press the wrong button.
Lay off the adult pops for 1 second.
I looked at that and I was like, why?
Huh?
Collusion? Something? Come on. There's
That's
gotta
what
be
I thought
something.
initially, but then I talked to the other party who picked up Dalvin Cook, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know." He goes, "He must have forgot."
Well, if you look at
which,
he unloaded like 4 players yesterday,
yeah,
just out of the blue.
Listen, pro tip here, because I don't know if this is what this guy did. Don't just because Buffalo is a bad team in the NFL, like standing wise, they have a good defense.
right.
They're ranked in the bottom half or the top half in everything but the points to the running back. They're 17th. They're middle of the road.
Yeah,
But I mean, if they can stop everything else,
right.
Well, I think the rankings thing played because he's a rankings guy. Dalvin Cook is ranked 55th. However, he hasn't played much.
yeah.
Right. The opportunity, I think his ceiling's higher than.
So he was looking at somebody. I think Crowell's in the teens or maybe early 20s. So he picked him up instead of him just based on the rankings.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah,
Shame.
that's not good.
Don't do that.
Don't be that guy.
Well, how about this? I know he dropped this player too. The ugly is LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah.
Dude, he had a fire sale. Anyways, I know we're talking about someone no one knows about. But anyways, he has 18-plus touches in his last 3 games. He's the true weapon for Buffalo there.
Volume.
Yeah.
I think only with an
Yeah.
asterisk
Well,
should be.
Zay Jones is shown flashes. The only reason why LaShawn McCoy is not like I have him as a low in RB2. The reason why I don't have him as close to an RB1 is because Josh Allen seems to take a lot of rushing yards.
He does.
So I mean, he takes a lot of that. So if he wasn't there doing that, I think he'd be closer to that RB2, RB1 spot.
Right. Well, maybe with the subtraction of Popeye's Biscuits, Benjamin, and Andre Holmes being gone, maybe McCoy gets a little bit more volume in the passing game. But
PBB. I like it.
I just think he's got more to eat on the spread after the game now that they're gone.
Didn't.
yeah, about that. Anyways. So, anyways,
I got more. Ready?
yeah. Is this actually a
No,
good game?
Yes.
Okay.
Only because there's fantasy points everywhere.
Okay.
Cincinnati at the Chargers.
Okay. I can get on board with this game.
You can?
Yeah.
You like it?
I like the Chargers side of the game.
He likes
but
Keenan
Yeah,
Allen.
Vegas does too. They're 14-point favorites.
He likes Keenan Allen.
I do.
Oh, yeah, I would too. He blew up last week.
Yes, he did.
But my good in this, and I just want to give this player credit. We never really talk about him, and he is having just a great year. It's Phillip Rivers.
yes.
He's been great. He ranks 5th, or he has 5 TDs with 20, or he's ranking 5th among all quarterbacks with 28 TDs this year. Only 6 interceptions.
Yep. We say it every year. Nobody drafts Phillip Rivers, and at the end of the year, he's top 10.
Right. And this year, I mean, I think he's going to climb in even closer.
He's in the MVP talk at this
Yeah.
point.
I still think Mahomes has got it wrapped up.
Well, I think Mahomes is the guy, but I think that he's still in that. I think it's like him. It's Mahomes, Rivers, Breeze, and there's a 4th guy. Is it Gurley? It's like it's not a
Gurley
quarterback.
should be in there.
Yeah.
It's not a quarterback. Like those are the 3 quarterbacks that you got. at the
Gurley's
top.
got to be involved. I mean,
Yeah, I think he's the only non-quarterback in the MVP talk. So, anyways, I think Phillip Rivers is having a great year, and it's been quiet good. If that sounds
Right.
And imagine if they'd had Hunter Henry.
exactly.
Also true.
Yep. Well, and then you got to love the matchup. He's playing Cincinnati, who ranks dead last against quarterback.
Yeah.
And also, he's thrown for 500 more yards at home than he has on the road. So,
Yeah,
listen, fire up Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
yeah. Sneaky pick.
Yeah. My bad in this, though, is any player on Cincinnati not named Mixon or Boyd. No Dalton,
He's true.
no AJ, no Bueno.
It's a bad day.
It's awful. There's only 2 you can play is Mixon and Boyd. That's it. I wouldn't even think about anyone else.
I got one of those anybody but on my stuff too.
See, I like it.
That was the ugly, or was that
That
the
was
bad?
my bad. My ugly in this is only because he wasn't great last week, but it's Eckler and or Justin Jackson. I think both you can play. Don't expect huge numbers out of them, but if you need a flex spot, they're pretty good with again. Cincinnati ranks dead last against the running back.
Yeah,
There's a common theme here.
I like Eckler.
I'd say Eckler and Jackson both had double-digit fantasy points this
Right.
past week.
Well, Jackson just like I'm trying to think of the player we compare him to. He does more when he gets the touches. Jackson does. That's what he was. He had less touches, but his yardage
more.
were unreal.
Does more with less.
Yes, and his receptions. He had like 8 receptions for like 73 yards or something. It was unreal. So that's why it looked that way. But I think Eckler, when he plays all game, I think he left with an injury. I think when he plays all game, Eckler will have the better fantasy stat line.
I was gonna say if you missed out on the Eckler pickup waiver wire, I think Justin Jackson's a sneaky play this week. So potentially to get you some double digits again.
All right. And then moving on to my last game, it's Denver at San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
We hinted at this already. My good is Philip Lindsay.
Yeah.
His last 2 games, he has 33 attempts, 267 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we could put Philip Lindsay and Amari Cooper in those like must starts every week.
I agree.
Just start them.
Well, now that with Sanders down,
Yeah.
it's even more that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So my bad in this is, I mean, I don't know why you would, but just in case, it's don't play either quarterback, Mullins or Keenum. I don't think either one's worth a start. Keenum,
Well, especially with Sanders now.
right? And when Keenum was could have been a sneaky start last week against Cincinnati. He only threw for 151. It's just not good.
No, he's been underperforming
Yeah.
all year. Not what they thought he was going to be.
Mullins actually throws for a ton of yards each week, but his turnovers are just too much.
He's just a young guy. They said he's very much like Brett Favre was when he first got to the league. And maybe even when he left the league, it was just his excuse. Oh man.
Excuse.
Squizzy.
Anyways, he throws a lot, so he's got a lot of attempts. However, his interceptions are also really high because, well, he's throwing a ton. So
Yeah.
Gunslinger.
eventually it's going to catch up to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. My ugly in this, there's 2 here. They're both for San Francisco. Jeff Wilson Jr., no Burrito.
Yeah.
So Wilson's going to get the bulk of the carries. He did have 15 carries for 61 yards last week. He had 8 receptions for 70-plus yards. He is dealing with a foot injury. They claim it's not serious. He's going to be a sneaky start, someone you can pick off your waiver wire and plug right into your starting lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And then the other one to look out for is Dante Pettis. If Garcon and Goodwin are still out, which they're still at the moment, still scheduled as
Pettis
out.
blew up.
Yes. His last 2 games, he has 9 receptions, 206 yards, and 3 TDs. He gets to be the slot guy over the middle. That is where Mullins loves to throw the ball. So as long as Garcon or Goodwin are not back in the lineup and in that spot, you're fine.
Right. I would agree with you.
I like it.
I mean, Miller Jr. Or Wilson Jr., he's going to be somebody that potentially could be on a lot of fantasy football playoff like championship teams because of Breida going down. And they're talking about Breida might be like in the injury spectrum. Melvin Gordon are expecting to be back week 15. According to James Conner's side of things, it sounds like they're expecting him to be back next week. It's just kind of like a 1 week breather break type thing. But from everything I'm hearing, how early that they went ahead and told for how much Breida has been dealing with injuries and playing with how many injuries he's been playing, and they've never ruled him out or they waited to the last minute to say he's either active or not. For them to this early in the week when they did announce that he's not playing, I mean, that to me tells me that there's probably a little bit more than just a 1 week stint for Wilson Jr. So if he's available on your waivers and you had Breida or you're playing against the guy who had Breida or you just need a fill-in flex play for the week, I think he's somebody who can get you double digits based on the volume alone that he's going to see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's kind of like Pittsburgh, Le'Veon Bell's out, Connor comes in, and he produces. Now, I don't think Wilson's going to produce at that level.
No.
But the offense shows in San Francisco, the running back's going to put up, like you just said, double-digit numbers. So he's definitely a good play.
Right. So, all right. You've got the other games. What do you got?
Yep. First game is Falcons at Packers. I'm going to put this guy in there with the Lindsey and Amari Cooper talks is Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
23 points per game over the last 4 games. Atlanta's dead last, 32nd against running backs. Play Aaron Jones.
And McCarthy is no longer there, so I would venture, I could be wrong, but I venture to say that Aaron Rodgers will be calling like 99.9% of those plays.
He's calling them anyways, it sounds like.
Probably, yeah.
Well, I think he's not going to have somebody coming to when he comes to the sideline telling
Not
him,
going to
hey,
have somebody in his ear telling him.
play this.
Because Aaron Jones disappeared for part of that game and then came back, had that touchdown last week.
Right.
Yeah.
I just hope that Aaron Jones that nothing changes on the offense for him the last couple of weeks with this change.
Well, with
head
Atlanta
coach.
being dead last versus
Yeah.
the running back, he's a good play this week for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, most definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. My bad for this one is the other running back, Tevin Coleman. 8 points per game over the last 4 games. I think Atlanta's going to have to throw to stay in this game. because I think they're going to be down. And Green Bay is 10th against running backs.
Yeah, I mean, Tevin Coleman might catch you one of those plays where he catches out of the backfield and gets you 30, 40 yards on a busted coverage, but on a consistent every down, he's not going to be somebody that you can rely on to feel good that he's going to get you 15 fantasy points safely.
His best game was against Washington a few weeks back, and it was 32 points.
Yeah.
He hasn't sniffed that since.
Yeah, he's you're hoping, if you play him this week, you're hoping for like 10 or 11. Honestly.
The whole offense in general has kind of been on a downward trend.
Even Julio,
yeah.
I mean, it's just been a weird year for the Falcons.
Yeah.
Plus, this is at Lambeau.
Also not good.
Right.
No.
For the Falcons.
No.
My ugly is wide receiver Calvin Ridley. He's averaging 14 points per game this season, and Green Bay's weakness is their secondary.
Yeah. They're thin in the secondary for sure.
Right. I like Ridley this week. My next game is Ravens at Chiefs. My good one, believe it or not, is Lamar Jackson, if he starts. 20 points per game since he took over the starting reins the last 3 weeks, and Kansas City's 28th against quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the defense is probably going to help keep that game, hopefully, to a low-scoring game to keep Jackson not having to actually throw the ball a ton.
Yeah, because the Chiefs' defense is not all that.
No.
My bad for this one. Any Chiefs wide receiver not named Tyreek Hill.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Baltimore is number 1 against wide receivers. They have a really good defense. My ugly for this one is Spencer Ware, 12 points in his start last week. Obviously, there's no Hunt. They signed Charkandrick West, but I'm not sure how much of a role he's going to have in that offense. So Spencer Ware's probably going to get the majority. However, Baltimore is first against running backs as well.
I was going to say, Baltimore's got a really good defense statistically. If you look across the board, I think they're the number 1 fantasy defense right now.
Yeah. Well, they're number 1 against running backs and receivers, so that's not good for the Chiefs, but, I mean, it's a high-octane offense.
We'll see, yeah. Listen, if you gotta have a running back you're debating on, have the one that's on the best offense.
Right.
I think that my thing is, concern-wise for this game, is going to be in reference to, I think Baltimore's defense is good, but I also think that Kansas City's offense is good. So I think it's going to come down to how much time Lamar Jackson and that offense can stay on the field. Even if they don't score any points or they don't get a field goal or they only settle for a field goal.
Right.
If they can
Kansas
have a
City
5 to
at
6 minute drive
Yep.
to give that defense some time to breathe before they go back out on the field and have to defend against a high-scoring offense.
Yeah, I agree.
So that'll be the key.
Next game, Panthers at Cleveland Browns. My good is tight end David Njoku. He's averaging 9 points per game. He's second on the team in receptions behind Jarvis Landry. And Panthers are 30th against tight ends.
I like Njoku. I like that he's doing well.
He's came on strong in the last few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was
most
a sneaky
definitely.
stash if you're able to get him
Early on in
stash
the
him,
year.
Yeah. Well, week 16 he plays Cincinnati, so
That's a terrible matchup.
just throwing that out there. Anywho,
You never want to play the Bengals.
my bad for this one is Duke Johnson. I don't know what happened. I mean, I know Chubb is came on. He's got 50. Chubb has 57 carries over the last 3 games.
Yeah.
They've since Greg Williams took over. They pretty much just dedicated that Nick Chubb is the guy.
I know,
Should've
but
been the guy from the rip.
They signed Duke Johnson to that 3-year deal at the beginning of the season, and he's pretty much been non-existent,
Well,
even in PPR formats.
I mean, you've got the quarterback coach now as the offensive coordinator, so he likes using
Is that Kitchens?
Kitchens likes using Nick Chubb out of the backfield, and
He's doing it all.
they like letting Baker throw the ball to the tight end position. I mean, they're really not forcing the ball much down the field. It's a lot of like dink and dunks and kind of picking your shots at time.
And at this point in the season, there's nothing to lose. So
No.
they're just letting it all out.
Right. Carolina's 5th against running backs, so it's not a good matchup. But if you got Chubb, you're playing him this week for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
What?
He's
Stay away from that Duke.
don't touch the Duke.
My ugly for this one is DJ
Never
Moore.
touch the Duke.
DJ Moore, 20 points per game. He's tied with Funchess in receptions for team leading. Cleveland's 21st against wide receivers. No Olsen.
Yeah,
It's going to be Funchess and DJ Moore getting the targets.
yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, we talked about it when we had him on the show, even, and after that when we saw. I mean, we really thought based on what we saw at his last year at Maryland with the different quarterbacks that he has that talent. It was just a matter of if he was going to get the opportunity year one, and for the first couple of weeks, it really looked like he was going to have that rookie slump that you just hit that wall. But he's actually gotten better as the year's gone, and now since about halfway through the season, he's actually kind of came into his own shell, and he's gotten comfortable in that offense, and he's found a way to be relevant.
Yeah.
So,
I don't want to blame it all, but a big part of his problem is Cam Newton.
This is also true.
Man, a different quarterback, I think DJ Moore would excel.
Flourishes
Yeah.
in a pass,
Well,
a
I
true
mean,
passing offense.
Like Amari Cooper. He went from Oakland to
Right.
Dallas, and look how the transformation has changed him.
Right.
My next game, and I'm excited about this game, Colts at Texans. My good for this one is Eric Ebron.
Yeah.
16.5 points per game in the last 4 games. He's the only, they got Mo Alley Cox or whatever, but he's the guy at the tight end spot.
Yeah.
Houston's 26th against tight ends, so they're near the bottom. I like Eric Ebron this week.
You gotta love. I think he had 16 targets last week. You gotta love that.
Yeah.
For a tight end, yeah, most definitely.
Plus, when they get in the red zone,
Yeah.
it's like it's his show.
Remember, he
automatic.
ran a touchdown in too. So
Yeah, automatic, man.
My bad for this one is wide receiver Demaryius Thomas. He's averaging only 8 points per game over the last 4 games. Colts are actually 7th against wide receivers.
Yeah, you really thought with him getting like a new scenery and getting out of Denver that this would be kind of the help that he needed to get into a better offense altogether, and he's just kind of disappeared. I mean,
Since he's been there, that tight end has came on strong for the Texans.
yeah, I don't know. Demaryius Thomas to me is just I think he's just trending down. Unfortunately, either way.
Hopkins is getting his stuff, and QT is
Still
their
doing
slot
well.
guy. Yeah,
And Lamar Miller's
Lamar
hot.
Miller's came on strong
Right.
with running the ball too. My ugly for this one's Marlon Mack. He had 2 30-point games at the beginning or the end of October, beginning of November, and he has done nothing since.
Yeah.
He's averaging only 9 points per game in the last 4. The Colts are throwing a lot more. Obviously, we talked about Andrew Luck, 8 straight games of 3 touchdowns until last week. Houston is 11th against running backs as well. Their defense is coming on strong.
Yeah, I mean, it stinks because, I mean, he had a stretch that Marlon Mack was doing really well, and then it just, instead of going left, he went right, and now he's just continuing to stay even or trending downward, and like you said, I think it's all offense-wise, the play calling,
They're just Andrew Luck's just throwing the ball a lot.
right everywhere.
so.
My last game is Patriots at Dolphins. I think this is going to be a blowout. My good for this one is running back James White. He's averaging 20 points per game. He leads the team in receptions with 74. And the Dolphins are 27th against running backs, so they're near the bottom.
Yeah, they give up some points.
Yeah.
James White, though, that's crazy. My bad is Devontae Parker. 7 points per game since his Week 8 explosion of 22 points. The offense is terrible. I'm just gonna be blunt with it. New England's 20th against wide receivers, and that brings me to my ugly, which is Kenyon Drake. 19 points per game over the last 2 games. He's really their only option that they have, in my opinion. New England is 14th against running back, so I like Kenyon Drake in this one.
I would say I like Kenyon Drake if you had to play a Dolphins offensive player for sure.
That's it. Yeah.
He's kind of like the, I guess, I mean, you could play Zay Jones in the Buffalo offense, but I mean, LaShawn McCoy, I think it's kind of the same concept. It's just a really bad offense in general. Defenses, Miami's defense is not horrible, but they're not like the Buffalo Bills good, if that makes sense.
I just look at Kenyon Drake as volume. He's going to be running the ball, and he's going to get checkdowns.
Right. Yeah. Eventually, they're going to be behind substantially, and they're going to have to play a lot of catch up with the pass game. So,
Well, hopefully he gets some of that like a garbage touchdown in there.
yeah.
Be a perfect play.
So,
He's a game scripter.
very much so. Now, week 14 for me, I've got the Lions and Cardinals in the first game. The good in this one, LeGarrette Blount. For me, Arizona is 25th against running backs. They're bad against the run. They don't stop anybody. So, and to me, I think that LeGarrette Blount will be used in kind of like the wearing down throughout the game. For like short yards and stuff like that, and especially in like the red zone. Kerryon Johnson not going to be back again this week, so to me, he seems to be the guy who sees more volume than Riddick. And unless for some odd reason the Detroit Lions are playing from behind in this game, I don't see Riddick being much of a volume guy in this one because I think it's going to be LeGarrette Blount because I think the game's either going to be close or Detroit's going to be ahead. So I think that's why I put him. Otherwise, I probably would have put Riddick if I thought this was a game that they were going to have to play from behind and catch up. So bad in this one. Matt Stafford.
He's been atrocious.
He has. And Arizona is actually really good against the quarterback position. They are number 8. So
That line is just so bad out there in Detroit that Stafford doesn't have a chance, and then they're just trading away all his offensive weapons. So
right now, I'm not saying don't play Kenny Galladay because volume-wise, he's the only guy out there that's going to be
he's
getting
it.
He's like the Bengals. It's Mixon and Boyd. Here it's Blunt and
Galladay for sure. So, but I would not touch Matthew Stafford or put him in my lineup at this point.
No.
So The ugly in this one, Ricky Seals-Jones. Detroit is 20th against tight ends. That seems to be their one falter. They seem to actually do pretty decent against the wide receivers overall. I mean, with Slay guarding whoever he guards, and I think with one true good wide receiver in Larry Fitzgerald, more than likely they're going to figure out a way to try to take him away, and David Johnson's going to have, they might even load the box up and just say beat us by passing the game. I just think Ricky Seals-Jones has a high enough ceiling potential this week to maybe get you double digits, just because I think that the Cardinals are going to play from behind, and I think that he's going to be a viable red zone option.
Especially with Kirk being put down on IR or something.
Yeah.
As well. So, and this one, the Rams versus the Bears. It's in Chicago.
This will be a good one.
That's the game I'm most excited for this week.
Yes, most definitely. Could be a lot of points. Could be a low-scoring game. It just depends on how the defenses step up.
That's Sunday night, right?
No, it's a 4:00 game.
Oh.
I'm kind of upset it's not in L.A.
The Sunday night game is the Steelers and Raiders, and the Monday night's the Vikings and Seahawks. So these are the 4:00 games.
Flexed it.
Right. The good in this one, Trey Burton. Now, and the only reason why I know he's had a bad couple weeks, but the matchup is too good to pass up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The Rams are 23rd against tight ends. This is their one weak spot within that defense. They are not good overall at all. So I'm just going to tell you, Trey Burton is somebody, if you're having to figure out and you're not liking your matchups, or you're dealing with a Greg Olsen injury and the other options on the waivers are horrible, I just think the matchup's too good to pass up on Trey Burton. He may get you 5 points. He may get you 15. It just depends on how this offense goes.
Listen, he's been known to give you a 0. He's done that a couple times.
Isn't Biskey back this weekend?
He is. So I think that's a trending. And if he's dealing with any type of injury in relation to being able to throw the ball, you might see a lot shorter throws, which would help Trey Burton out.
I think Trubisky could have came back last week. I think he just held him out as precautions.
Right. So
he'll be fine. He'll be back throwing it all over the place.
Right. Now, the bad in this one, I'm not telling you to sit him, so brace yourself, but Todd Gurley.
Jeez.
I know, right?
Please do. If you sit Todd Gurley,
Hot take.
Right. I'm just going to tell you, what I think is going to, if
If you're going to sit Todd Gurley, just give him to me.
I think it's the same concept as the Kansas City game in Baltimore. I think that if the Bears defense gets enough time to be breathing and be able to kind of get their bearings back and be able to sit on the field.
bearings.
There you go. See? Play on words. Chicago is 11th against running backs. So they are a very good defense against the run. That seems to be the one thing that they do shut down for sure consistently. Todd Gurley's kind of been struggling at times. I mean, he's not been looking as great. He's had to work more for those points, I should say, than as they came so easily early on in the year where they were 30 points and it was a breeze and he could have probably got you 40, but he took like a series or two off. Plus, he's dealing with some sort of injury that's kind of lingering. No Malcolm Brown because he's now injured. So they may try to take the pedal off of Gurley and not completely run him into the ground if they think that they can win this game without him being used like 90% of the time. So I'm just saying, if Todd Gurley only gets you 16 fantasy points this week, please don't cry and be upset and say that, oh my gosh, my season's over. I lost because Todd Gurley only got me 15.
Well, theoretically, if Todd Gurley is your best player and it's the playoffs and you lose, you're going to cry because you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's whatever you want to do. Anyways, I'm just saying, brace yourself for a potential average game for Todd Gurley in this matchup.
Yeah, his average is still 20.
Right.
I mean, with the guy scoring 30, I'm just saying, if he brace yourself if he gets you like 15 or 16, please don't be completely surprised.
I mean, the Bears are a top defense.
Right. And the ugly in this one, at the time that I was writing this, I didn't know if Mitchell Trubisky was for sure going to be coming back. Since then, the news has come out that he is. So, Bears quarterback Mitchell Trubisky is my ugly in this one. The Rams are 31 against quarterbacks, 31st out of 32 teams. Horrible. And I know that Talib is supposed to be back and playing and everything great. I just think that the Bears offense is going to have to do similarly what the Baltimore offense is going to have to do, and they're going to have 5 to 6 minute sustaining drives. Whether they put points on the board or not, they're going to have to move the ball down the field and hold the ball and play the clock as long as they can. They can't afford to put that Rams offense against their good defense continually for every going 3 and out or having quick scores, whatever the case may be. So either or, I think that Trubisky's got, I'd say he's about a 20-point game this week against that defense.
I like Cohen in this game too.
Oh, yeah.
Most definitely.
Not Jordan Howard.
No.
Cohen.
No. Jordan Howard's unspoken. We're not going to speak.
Cohen just blew up last week.
Again.
He threw a touchdown.
He did everything. Literally everything.
We did. He did. That's just they're finding a way to use him and to maximize his offensive
And
abilities.
I think with a defense like the Rams, they're going to have to be creative like they were against the Giants, too.
Yeah. So, all right, this one, Eagles at Cowboys. The good in this one, Dak Prescott. I know it sounds crazy. I said he was the ugly a couple weeks ago, and the weeks before that I said he was the bad, so I do move him around if I have to mention him.
Homer.
I have put him in the bad, don't worry. But in this one, the Eagles are 22nd against quarterbacks. They are not really good.
They're depleted.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing is they're just not good on defense. They're injured, and I just think that the Dallas offense, run game wise, as well as Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, even, I think the offense for Dallas, with the way the defense is playing for Dallas as well, and kind of squeezing Wentz potential, I think Dak's going to have more comfort in that game. He's not going to feel like he's having to be pressured. He's not going to feel like he's going to have to win the game. And when Dak's not feeling under pressure and Dak feels like he can be comfortable, hand the ball off 20 times to Ezekiel Elliott or throw it for 20 times to Michael Gallup, Beasley, and these guys, I think he's comfortable.
Where is this at?
In Dallas.
Okay, yeah, so, I mean, Redskins were moving the ball on them for 3 quarters.
Right.
Dallas is offense is much better than Washington.
That's what I kinda look at it.
This game's going to get ugly.
So
quick.
I put Dak as the good in this one. I think he could potentially get you 20 points in this week. Bad, Josh Adams. I know he's been hot and cold. He's had a couple good games, and he got you enough of which maybe double digits, what you needed last week to get yourself into the fantasy playoff talk. But Dallas is 6th against running backs.
Yeah, their
they
defense
don't
is
give up
pretty-
much.
That Van Der Esch
Yeah.
is
Unreal.
ridiculous.
Unreal.
mean,
Talk about hitting a home run.
Remember at the draft when we were watching it and we were like,
What?
Like, they need a receiver.
I was
Well,
like-
Van Der Esch has panned out, and
Yeah.
they still got a Pro Bowl receiver in Amari Cooper, so kudos to Dallas for that.
Right. So I'm just saying that seems to
Jerry
be
Jones's head just got even bigger.
right. Jalen Smith, along with Van Der Esch, I just think that linebacker core, plus as they call themselves, apparently the Hot Boys. I guess the defensive line is what they call themselves. I guess I don't
They
know.
definitely need a new nickname.
Right. Anyways, the defensive
Lil
front.
Wayne might have a problem with that.
Right. The front defense for the Dallas Cowboys also gets tons of pressure off the edges, up the middle, wherever. I mean, they're all in the quarterback's face, it seems like, every snap. So I just think that with the way the Eagles offense played against Washington, I just think that Josh Adams is going to struggle in this game.
Yeah.
Ugly in this one. I know it sounds, I think the Eagles can potentially put some points on the board, but they put 28 points on Washington's, I would say, average to above average defense, and it took them 4 quarters to be able to do it. So
Yeah.
I put Dallas's defense as the ugly in this one, as a streamer play for your first week of your fantasy playoffs, just
Especially
because.
at home.
Yeah. I mean, they got, I think, like 9 or 10 last week at home, so I just think against the Eagles, they might get a couple turnovers, might couple strip sacks, or sacks in general. I just think that they're going to be a good 7 to 8 fantasy points this week. So,
Real quick for you, and Golden Tate.
I was just
Golden
getting ready to
Tate,
say
you
that.
playing him or not?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's one to watch. He's trending
Okay.
upward.
I agree too. I just didn't know I know he's been up and down, and he's up right now.
Let's put it this
I'd
way.
go with it.
I play him over Alshon this week because I think Alshon's
yeah.
going to be stuck up against Byron Jones, and Byron Jones is the best corner. He's a top 5 corner in the NFL right now.
Well, that and the pass rush is going to be after
Yeah.
Carson Wentz. He's going to have to get rid of the ball quick.
yeah.
I like Golden Tate. I also, obviously, Amari Cooper in this game.
Yeah, most definitely. So, all right, the Sunday night game, Steelers at the Raiders. Man,
Blowout.
right? It should be, but, I mean, you did see a pretty good game out of the Raiders last week.
Yeah,
So,
well, Kansas City's defense is
right.
not the greatest.
No. This one I put the good Vance McDonald. Oakland is literally dead last against tight ends. Here's a fantasy playoff guy that you can sit in your lineup and be like, okay, it's horrible.
I lost Greg Olson. Who can I pick up?
Right,
There
Vance
it is.
McDonald. There you go. Bad defense and Big Ben on the road. I think he's going to try to check down a lot potentially. I just think that this.
Well, now with Connor not in, Vance McDonald could see a bigger role in that red zone.
See, I think Big Ben, although he might not have a good game statistically for fantasy purposes, he's going to throw the ball a ton.
Yeah.
And I think, yes, the next guy I talk about, they're going to hand the ball off because you can't throw the ball every down. But I think on a down-by-down situation, they're going to be throwing this ball more often than not. So, now the bad in this one, Jalen Samuels. I put him in the bad, and it's not because Oakland is good against the run, because Oakland is 22nd. However, I think that they are going to use him, but in how much capacity is he really going to see the ball this week? And Stephen Ridley's there.
It's unknown. And I know in his press conference
Right.
they said they're going to do a committee, but
Right.
I think they're going to lean on Samuels as it goes forward.
I do too.
I think so as well. I just put at the bat at this point because we're still trying to figure out what's going on.
Right.
And I still think this first week without James Conner and them trying to figure out how much they can rely on Samuels, I think Big Ben's going to throw the ball more. And I don't know if Jalen Samuels is going to get to see the amount of volume that Conner has seen all year.
Well, the other thing is they might need to see what they have in Samuels. Let him just roll him out there because who knows what Connor's injury, how long it's really going to be. We think it's 1 week.
I think they know what they have in Samuels, and it was evident last week. As soon as Connor went out, Samuels came in. Within 2 plays, he called a screen pass for a touchdown. They know what he got. I just think they just don't want to force their hand. But I'm with you. You don't know what you're going to get.
Right. I will tell you this. I know it sounds weird, but I'd rather play Wilson Jr. over Jalen Samuels this week. And that's only because I know what I'm getting with Wilson Jr., and I know that there's nobody back there competing with him, and there's no chance that Stephen Ridley randomly catches a pass out of the backfield or Vance McDonald catches a red zone touchdown.
Right.
I just think and plus the matchups overall, I just think that Steelers are out to prove something. They got beat late against the Chargers at home.
Trying to give another comparison now since you said that.
Yeah.
Another player in my head.
Well,
It'll come to me.
it's okay.
For what?
For like, who would you play over Jalen Samuels? Or would you? But I said that I would play Wilson Jr. over Jalen Samuels this week. That's just me. Ugly this week. Big Ben. And it's because he's on the road. He does tend to struggle. But Oakland, 21st against quarterbacks. Not a bad matchup for a quarterback who's going to have to probably throw the ball a little bit more and maybe go out to going to have to prove that they're still a good team, and they're still in the playoffs. They have to win out for the. I mean, they have to basically. I think they're only like a half a game or a game behind Baltimore at this point.
They're a half game out from Baltimore.
So if they lose this week and Baltimore somehow pulls off an upset, which I don't believe is going to happen, then they're now in second place and they're not going to the playoffs. So I'm just saying it's they have to win out. So I think that's what Big Ben's going to throw the ball, and I think. It's like it was a couple weeks ago. I mean, where Russell Wilson or even Big Ben, where they may only have like 1 or 2 fantasy points in that first half, and you're like, oh gosh, did I play the wrong quarterback? And then they come back in the second half and put up like 30.
Russell Wilson's the king of that.
Right.
He'll get you 5 to 7 points at halftime, and you're like, okay, great. Then you check your stuff, after the game, and he's got 32 points, and you're like, what?
It's just
4 touchdowns.
It's just second half offense for Seattle. It's like it's just so mundane for the first half, and then they come out second half. They're probably down by then, and they're chucking the ball over the place. Russell Wilson's running, and it's like, we're back.
Right. So that's Big Ben. I think is a ugly play for the week. He might get you 30 points this week. He may get you 15. You don't know with Big Ben on the road, unfortunately.
There's just so many weapons in Pittsburgh. I'd play them.
All right, and Oakland is not a good team.
They're terrible. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So
Jared Cook's all they got.
true. I almost put him as my ugly, but I was like, you know what? We mentioned him as the ugly like consistently for Raiders, so I wanted to throw in somebody else. The Vikings at Seahawks, so it's in Seattle, which Seattle tends to play their best games
And Vikings
in Seattle.
have been struggling.
Yeah.
So the good in this one, Minnesota running backs. In either way, I think Dalvin Cook is going to have a good game this week.
I was going
to say, it might not be 2 touchdown good, but he may get you a touchdown in like 100 total yards.
Well, especially in PPR format, I think Vikings are going to be down, actually, and I think Dalvin Cook's going to be the beneficiary of that.
Right. I think this is a week that Dalvin Cook's type of abilities out of the backfield, I think, are going to be beneficial, especially in the PPR format.
They got to do something on that offense. They can't have another showing like they did against New England.
No. I just think the thing is, I know that the Diggs played, but he's not healthy.
No.
Thielen is dealing with a hamstring issue.
They're both banged up.
Rudolph is playing like crap.
Well, he's on another planet somewhere doing something.
Because they don't know how to.
Yeah, I know.
It's been not what we thought
No.
coming in this year with Minnesota.
I'll eat my words on this one.
So
I think we're all in the same boat.
it's just a surprise, that's all. The bad in this one, Seattle running backs. Now,
Yeah.
whether it's Carson, Davis, Penny, whoever, it doesn't matter. Whatever guy, I think Carson's if you had to play out of the 3, Carson is still the guy to play. But Minnesota is 9th against running backs, and I think that's what they're going to try to take away is the run game, because I think that they're gonna make Russell Wilson beat them with whether it's his legs or with his arm. I just think that they're not going to allow a big run game against them. I think that's what they're gonna try to take away.
If I had to play one of those running backs, I would play Penny, only because of the receiving out of the backfield.
True.
And that's the other thing. You don't know which running back
Right.
is going to get that touchdown.
Right.
Because they're both going to see volume, both going to have a workload. So it's tough.
Right. And Mike Davis seems to be the guy that they bring in short yardage and red zones.
Yep.
So it's a competition between Penny and Carson, which is what we've talked about pretty much on and off all year.
And here's the thing. Carson is dealing still with a lagging injury. It's going to be the rest of the year. And if he
Right.
goes down, Penny's the next guy up. So
Right. And the ugly in this one, Doug Baldwin. Minnesota is 7th against wide receivers, and it depends on if Rhodes is lined up on him or not. If he's playing in the slot, then he has a little bit more freedom, but anytime he plays on the outside, Xavier Rhodes is going to be the guy that watches over him and runs with him stride for stride. And Doug Baldwin's kind of been...
He's hit and miss. Tyler Lockett has been blowing it up.
yeah.
See, that's the thing. Tyler Lockett's been playing out of the slot a lot more, and that's where the success is coming from. And I don't know if Baldwin plays in the slot. Whoever plays in the slot position for this game, for the Seattle Seahawks, is the guy that you want.
Well, if Xavier Rhodes is on Baldwin, it's going to be Lockett all day because Trey,
Right.
Trey Waynes just went out with a concussion.
Right.
So they're banged up in the secondary too.
Right. So that's why I put him as the ugly. I mean, if you can't play Lockett, I mean, Baldwin's not a bad one's a play,
No.
not a bad play, but it depends on if he's on the outside or if he's playing in the slot position. So
Yep.
it just depends. But I just think that the Seahawks defense is a good one to play this week as well.
Absolutely.
Monday night
In Seattle,
in Seattle with the 12th man, they are a different monster when they're playing at home.
it's weird. It's like
Especially in prime time.
it's like Pittsburgh at home.
Right.
They're totally different than when they're away.
And it's a night game, so that's when they I mean, we talked about the Legion of Boom being done, and this is over, and that was first quarter to almost halfway through the season, and then they just rounded the corner and defensively have created their own new identity.
Well, I think they got the cancer spots they wanted out of there,
True.
and now they can be a unit.
Right. The bad guys got out, and they're now dealing with, I think, a lot of the younger guys that have now bought into Pete Carroll's way of defense. Plus, I think
Wagner's a beast.
Yeah.
Ken Norton Jr. has gotten those guys back on point, and I mean he is a no nonsense guy, and it's pretty much it's his way or you're out or you don't play. And I think these guys have come in and bought in. These young players have bought into it.
And I think they weren't healthy in the beginning of the year either.
True.
I think they were banged up from preseason and all that stuff. Now they're all starting to get healthy and they're clicking really on all cylinders. So
Yeah.
Seattle's a team to watch.
I'm still mad
Going
Dilly
for it.
Dilly went out.
I know.
Well, this game right here's got big playoff because right now, as it stands, both of these teams, the Seahawks and the Vikings, are currently slotted in both wild card
Yep.
spots for the NFC.
Yeah. It's a good one. Well, the Eagles are potentially slotted in there. So is the Washington Redskins. I mean,
Skins are done. They're in the hunt with Carolina and Philadelphia.
correct.
If Philadelphia can beat Dallas, which is a hard target, but they're fighting for the NFC East.
Right.
And then you got Seattle, Minnesota, that are currently in those two slots, and you got essentially Carolina on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
So it's a tight race for those wild card spots. This is a must-win for both of these teams.
Yeah, that's why I think it could be a good game. And being Monday night, if you have any of the Seahawks guys or any of the Vikings guys, you're excited because in your first week of the playoffs, you get to hang that over your opponent and
Oh, yeah.
wait all weekend for it.
See, I would hate that, man. I would hate that.
I'm just saying, I've got the Seahawks defense, and I've also got Russell Wilson, and I will gladly let him sit there till Monday night.
Sure,
Both
absolutely.
of them.
Until you're down by like 90, and then you're like, well, this isn't.
And Russell Wilson just pulls up like an 80. That's what my team
Yeah.
would do.
Pull up 89.
Against
Guess what
you.
you would get? 89 and a
89,
half.
no, 89.98. And I was like, really?
Just fall over.
Right. Blackburn just needs. He's like, you know what? Going into the Monday night game,
No.
I'm up 90, and they've only got a quarterback and a defense left. Oh, I'll be good. And that quarterback goes for like 65, and the defense goes for like 35, and you're like, okay.
You know what
well,
Blackburn is? Blackburn's got it. Let's say he's at 90, so he's got the tie. But when Wilson goes to the formation to kneel it out, so he takes negative yards on the rushing, he gets them back and takes them back that point. That's your season
That's how I
in a
lost at Thacker
nutshell.
this year. He had Connor playing. It was a Steelers. It was a Sunday or Monday night game. All they had to do was they needed one more rush to run the clock out. He got stopped by the guy, but he inched his way and fell forward for 2 yards. And Thacker beat me by .02.
Unreal.
Ridiculous.
It's called a bad beat.
that's a fantasy football anomaly. Is that
Yeah.
is nominee?
Anomaly.
Mahamala.
Anomaly.
Yeah, there you go.
Mahamala.
Before we sign off, here's a rumor I heard today.
Yes.
The Chiefs have pretty much washed their hands with Kareem Hunt. They
Well,
said there's
clearly.
Well, they said there's no return possible.
Yeah.
They're going all in on Le'Veon Bell.
Ooh, that could be good. If you're in a win now
They're
situation.
going to have $41 million under the cap after this season's over, and they said they're all in on getting Le'Veon to Kansas City. Could you imagine that next year?
I'm just saying that's a win now team, and you got a veteran running back who's looking to stick it to
Man.
his
Who's
previous
still
team.
younger.
Right. I think he's like 25 or 26.
He's
so.
26 right
26,
now.
yeah.
So you're dealing with that, and you're going to the same AFC, to the same division in theory. I mean, overall,
And right now is the time to do it because your quarterback's still on rookie money.
true.
Yeah.
As well as Tyreek Hill. Is Tyreek Hill still on rookie money?
I don't know, but his time will be coming up, and so will Kelsey. But your quarterback is making rookie money. You can afford a high price running
Well, they
back.
just did.
And you got a pretty good offensive line.
They
so.
did an article on that the teams now that have their window of open to win are the guys who have good quarterbacks on rookie contracts.
That's always how it is.
So
That's why Dallas is in a good spot right
Yeah.
now. Amari's going to get paid.
yeah,
Dak's probably going to get paid.
Zeke's going to get paid.
Yeah.
But then they'll be strapped after that because
the problem is, so do you pay Dak?
I'm
then?
just telling you
I
right
mean,
now.
Listen,
Well, look-
Baltimore's not happy they paid Flacco.
No.
well, he had the Super Bowl
Well, that's what I'm saying.
carryover.
So right now, if your window is to still win, you win. Do you still sign Dak?
I will tell you, as a Dallas fan, no. I if you want to sign him, that's great, but don't sign him to the same. Don't get caught in the same situation that the Jaguars did with Bortles.
Yeah.
Bortles had a really
Absolutely.
good.
Or
I
Kirk
want
Cousins money.
just mirror this. You have a quarterback who is average. We'll say he's a game manager. He's not an elite guy. He's not gonna win you games, but he has the opportunity to potentially lose you games, if that makes sense. However, last year when they were running hot on all cylinders, the Jaguars, and they were doing well. The defense, young defense, was playing great.
Number one.
You had a good running game
Top 10.
with Fournette.
Yep.
A good, I would say, about an average to above average offensive line.
Yeah.
And then you had you had good wide receiver, I would say average wide receivers, and you had a mediocre quarterback. He goes in, does a very good job. He doesn't lose them games, essentially. They pay him a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
He plays like crap this year because why? He's actually having to throw the ball a ton. The run game is not as good as it was last year, and the defense has played like atrocious the first half of the season.
It's non-existent.
To me, it's the
almost.
exact same thing that you're seeing with Dallas.
It is funny that you mentioned that. Yeah, Dallas is this year's Jaguars.
Right.
Defense is looking good. Got a great running game. Offensive line, I'd say, is about average to above average. And your quarterback is not killing you in the games. I mean, don't get me wrong. Dak has still got a ton of turnovers, fumbles that somehow don't always get picked up by the defense. How, I don't know. But I'm just saying, at this point, fortunately for Dak, and unfortunately for Dallas fans, if you're not a fan of Dak, he's probably going to get paid at the end of this year. Amari Cooper's going to get paid, and probably in
Amari's definitely going to
Yeah.
get paid. Zeke's got 2 years left. I think he's on his 5 year, or is this his 4th year?
Zeke's. This is his 4th.
So he's got one more year after this before he gets paid.
No, this is his 3rd year. I take that back.
Yeah, so 2 years. Dak gets paid next year.
Dak will get paid in this offseason. You watch. And so will Cooper.
See, that'll strap. If they all three of those get paid, it's going to strap their team.
Right. That means
News alert.
you don't pay the guys that are doing really well on the defense. Someone's going to go.
Well, Van Der Esch, luckily, is
True.
5 years.
What are you going to do with Lee?
They're going to cut ways
I
with
think
him.
Lee's. Well,
Lawrence will be your
Jo-
one.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones
you
announced
go.
this week that when Lee comes back, he's starting.
Yeah.
I
well, Jerry
know.
Jones says a lot of things.
I know, but Jerry runs a team.
He does. Anyways. Alrighty. That's all we got for today. We'll tell you guys thanks again for tuning into the show, whether it's via the podcast or on YouTube. Please check out the site, thehateful8ff.com. You can find in-season weekly articles and as well as the online store. Follow the personal accounts at jpickleTH8FF, at jblackburnTH8FF, and at ftrimTH8FF. Don't forget to join the average donation and support the show via the Patreon tab on the site. You can get all that in-season help as you're approaching the playoffs and in the playoffs. It's a game changer. So, anything you
You're
guys
right.
have?
I am a game changer.
Yeah. Anything else you guys got?
No. Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it.
Yes, we
Yep.
appreciate it.
Thanks again, and make sure you tune in on Sunday afternoon around 11 p.m. or 11 p.m. We won't be there. 11 a.m.
Games
Eastern.
will be over by then, too.
Yeah, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for normal, where we tweet out Q&A and open it up to you guys if you have last-minute questions. So,
And you don't have to just tune in that time. You can hit any one of us on our Twitters, and anytime it will help you out.
Yeah.
We know it's playoff week, so let us know.
Right.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
One more time. no one like these three. You know you just heard Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli. Give the goods talking about nothing but fantasy football. Yeah, it's your year to dominate and to wear that ring. Prepare for the draft and dial in on your craft. Quarterback, the first round is a good choice, you ask? This guy's got first round pick, a favorite? Not so fast. He failed to tune into Hateful Eight. He's a chump finishing last.